What's this? What's this? That's Israel sending aid trucks from Israel to go into Syria to help the Syrian Druze brothers and sisters. And that's the Israeli side, going around and just cheering out of joy as they escort the convoy of aid that they're sending. Israel is sending aid to non-Israelis, non-Jews that are living in another country, an enemy country. Insane. Look at that. See, that's in Israel. Beautiful. The Prime Minister of Israel have just announced that if the Muslims in Syria will try to hurt the Druze, Israel will kick their tusik. I mean, let me say that again. Israel is just declaring that if anyone tries to hurt minorities outside of Israel, we're talking about the Druze, the Yazidis, the Christians, Israel will go and kick their ass. I mean, what a crazy badass tusik Israel is. I mean, just insane. Just imagine all these Muslims coming right now, Allahu Akbar, and they want to go and basically genocide all the minorities in Syria, and then you have F-16s and fighter jets from Israel going around and just wiping them all out, and they're gonna feel the whole might of the IDF just because they're trying to attack minorities that are not even Israelis outside of Israel. Let that sink in. What an amazing nation Israel is. And that's why I keep saying Israel is not the problem in the Middle East. Israel is the only hope for peace and coexistence in the Middle East because they're willing to go out of their way. And in this case, I mean, here's the video. Hear what Bibi Netanyahu said, and then let's talk about this video. It's insane.
בסוריה, כוחות צה"ל יישארו בכתר החרמון ובמרחב החיץ לזמן בלתי מוגבל כדי להגן על יישובינו ולסכל כל איום. לא נאפשר לכוחות של ארגון ה-HTS או לצבא סוריה החדש להיכנס לשטח מדרום לדמשק. אנחנו דורשים פירוז מלא של דרום סוריה במחוזות קונטרה, דרה וסווידה מכוחות המשטר החדש. כמו כן, לא נסבול כל איום על העדה הדרוזית בדרום סוריה.
What a badass speech. We will not tolerate any threat over the Druze people in Syria. And Israel is doing that because they're showing their respect to the Druze brothers and sisters in Israel, saying, you stood with us, we're standing with you, and no one is going to harm your brothers and sisters in Syria. Now, to help you better understand, we're going to show you the map here so you understand what does that mean, because there's several Druze hubs in Syria. So you have Israel, and then you have right beside Israel in the north is what they call the Geopolitical Druze. It's a big Druze community that was very close to the Israeli Druze community. Basically, when the Israeli nation was established, the border went through their village. So half of the village ended up in Syria, and the other half is in Israel. So they're very close to each other. And then you have the biggest chunk of Druze in Syria, and that's in the area of Suwaida. That's an area more in the south of Syria, and that's where a majority of the Druze are there. There's still many of them are still relatives, and they know a lot of Israeli, and they know a lot of Druze in Israel, in Lebanon, and Syria, because the Druze is a very tiny minority, that they know each other. And then you have a small, tiny Druze community up in the center of Syria, right under Damascus, and that is, let me show you, and that is right here, Fil Jaramana. Yep, Jaramana. So look how close is Damascus and look how close is Jaramana. And that is a Druze community that is right now being under attack by radical Islam, by jihadists, by the government. I mean, don't let anyone fool you. The government of Syria is Al-Qaeda. I know they're trying to fool the West and they're succeeding very good in Europe, but just because you have a jacket now and you shaved your beard a little bit, not all the way along, doesn't stop you from being ISIS or Al-Qaeda. And I have a lot of contact with many people in Syria. We're talking about Muslims, ex-Muslims, Druze, which I can't really share their name out of their own safety because they will be killed because they're showing a different opinion. But here, let me read for you some of the messages that some of them have been sending me. The guy is a former Muslim, a liberal person who obviously cannot share his identity, and some of the comments here I'm going to have to delete as well because, they're going to lead to him. But look what he said. Do you think it's better now for me to move south? He just asked me if it's a better idea for him to move south. I'm in certain town, as you know, and it's exactly what apartheid looks like in Syria. It's funny how in our societies, we grew up being fed up about the nation's enemy, Israel, and how bad they are and how they have an apartheid state and how they are the real monster. Then we grew up to see the truth and realize that what they have been describing Israel with is actually only applying to them as an apartheid, as the monsters, and etc. Very interesting. And that was my answer to him. I think with time, the South might become safer and more progressive, but things can still get out of control very fast. That's how it is in the Middle East. And I would definitely recommend keeping a close look at it, brother. And then I added, it's fascinating how the West was so successfully fooled to believe the exact opposite of the truth. Again and again and again, especially Western media, forget about them. And then he answered, yep, that's what I was thinking, because here it is still difficult to even go outside. And I can't seek asylum abroad, and it's not an easy process. So while looking for the best options I have, I thought by the recent updates that the South might be a good one. Now you see, before we read, because there's more interesting stuff that the guy shared with me, but let's talk about this right now. He's an ex-Muslim, a very progressive, a liberal human being who just want to live and let live. He knows that now it's going to be very hard for him to reach Europe because, you know, Europe is getting fed up with all the Syrian asylum seekers that they brought because they're going stabbing babies, or in general, immigrants from Muslim countries are driving their cars into Christmas markets and who knows what. So it's going to become very hard for him to seek asylum as a young male. And then he's coming and saying, the only place that I see the hope for a better future is actually in the southern part of Syria, because Israel have just made an announcement, you know, the government of Syria, Jawlani and your Al-Qaeda buddies, don't come close to that area. Stay there. We don't want you here. Don't even dare to come here. And there's a good reason. Many people say, wow, why is Israel? Why can't they mind their own business? Guys, this is our own business, because Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, the Syrian Al-Qaeda guys, they all said that they want to bring the war into Jerusalem and they want to, from the river to the sea, annihilate Israel. The only reason they're not doing it is they can't. But if Israel would let them come and get a stronghold close to Israel, we're ensuring that another October 7 might come on our country. So Israel's saying, nah, not going to happen. Stay away. And they're further saying, all the minority groups that are living there are off the limits. Islam, go try to do something else somewhere else. Don't come here. The Druze, the Christians, the Yazidis, basically all the nations with really yummy food. But bottom line, Israel is going out of their way to defend minorities living in another country that are not even its own citizens, not even in its own territory. Show me which other country is taken to that extent with its enemy neighboring country. Syria is an enemy country of Israel. And Israel is saying we're willing to go to an enemy country to defend the minorities in that country from the Muslims that are trying to come and genocide them. And why is it always Muslims? I mean, come on. Israel have no problem with the Christians, with the Druze, with the Yazidis. They're actually, if they move to the south, we're going to have very peaceful border with them. It's going to be very good for them and for us, especially if Israel protect them. And that's why many Muslims in Syria are starting to see an opportunity. Listen, if we go there, we can live our life as we want. I have messages that were sent to me by Druze from Syria. I'm not going to share their identity. Some of them, you know, obviously from obvious reasons, but they're even asking me, listen, I've been hearing what's happening. I'm thinking to move to the south. Do you think it's a good idea? Maybe I can get a job there. Maybe I've been unemployed right now. Islam is trying to wipe us out and it's not looking good for us, you know, so I'm thinking about that. So just the level of blessing that Israel is bringing to the Middle East from the moment that Israel started speaking, power and respect. And I made a video about this and you can go and watch it, because that is the key for prosperity in the Middle East. You got to be strong and you got to stand your ground. And if you're the good one, you better do it, because the bad ones will take advantage of you if you don't do that. So, should Israel annex the Druze and the southern part of Syria? That is a complicated question, and I have 3 answers. And I'm going to put that in my next video, because people don't like long videos, so we're going to finish and wrap it up right now. But in the next video, I'm going to talk exactly about that, because I think plan A is bad, plan B is pretty good, but plan C is probably the most realistic one. So watch the next video, and we're going to talk about this. But right now, that statement that Israel is willing to go to war with an enemy that is coming to hurt other people, it just shows you that the only hope for peace in the Middle East is Israel. And the only hope for peace in the Middle East is for Islam to stop trying to forcefully convert other people and live and let live. Will Islam ever do that? Is Islam even capable to do that? Well, you have the United Arab Emirates. They're trying to go that way. You have some small Muslim groups right now trying to push that narrative towards a different future, but the majority of the Muslim world, Turkey and etc., are just showing that they're going the opposite direction. But anyway, guys, I hope today's video was helpful. I think for me, this is exciting news, and it just shows how Israel is willing to go and stand by their Druze brothers and sisters, just like we stood by them. They're standing by us, and that's just nothing to take for granted. Everything that is happening nowadays is just super interesting, and I'm gonna do my best to bring you the best news from the Middle East and just help you understand the situation, because I am, after all, an Arab, grew up in the Middle East. I served in the army, in the special forces, and I think I know quite a lot about the whole topic. But anyway, till then, guys, don't do anything stupid in general. Just don't do anything that I would do. And let's finish with a word of advice. Live and let live. As cliche as it might sound, is probably one of the best religious teachings anyone can have. Meaning that you have your own faith, and it's great, and if it makes you a better person, that's great. And if someone else have a different faith, accept it as it is. Now, if you feel that your faith is better than his, then by all means, and it might be, by all means, try to come and explain it to him. Try to come and live by an example and show him, because I think living by example is the best teacher you can have. I see it as a father. The best thing I can teach my kid is by behaving the way I want him to behave. Is by treating women the way I want him to treat women. Is by treating men the way I want, treating animals. Is by the way I talk to strangers. Is by the way that I choose to work, by my work ethics, and etc. and etc. So the best way to help people adapt or maybe accept and take your way of living because you think it's good for them is show them that it's good by living it yourself, but don't try to shove it down their throat. And that is the main problem that Islam is doing, where they're trying to forcefully convert other nations to live. Come to Islam, or we're gonna bring Sharia law on you, and we're gonna come and kill you if you don't choose to convert to Islam. That, it doesn't go well with Western values. But anyway, guys, like I said, stay safe. See you next time. And next video I'm gonna make about what I just talked about.